Let's go! Not over.
Hey, everybody. It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots. With me, as always, Johnny C., creator of Sartana and the upcoming Surrounded by Death Kickstarter. How's it going, buddy? How you doing?
It's going, man. I'm so fucking tired. Dude, between work...
It's been a hell week. I hate taking time off because when you come back from work, it's even worse.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like I should have just stayed at working, you know?
I know. And it's not like we had a really productive, I shouldn't say productive, but it's not like we had a nice holiday weekend where it wasn't like rife with like storms and rain.
Yeah.
And, maybe 1 out of the 3 days that we were off was like nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was good for me though, because I hunkered down in front of the computer and I was like at the screen most of the weekend, save for a minor trip I made to Boxborough just to make my presence known, and that way I'm seen. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I was just saying, Gary must have been ecstatic that it rained this past weekend.
Yeah,
I could just imagine.
Typical nature for that show. The first half of the day on Saturday, gangbusters. Everything for the rest of the weekend, trash.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you just teased what you were working on. You were working on the Surrounded by Death Kickstarter, right? Is it almost ready to go, or is it like
So this is basically what's left for me to put into the campaign.
Okay.
I need to add international because I've decided to do any flats that I'm shipping, I will do international on. So I've come to that, conclusion. Though there's going to be a lot of really premium tiers that doing international is not going to be viable. So the flats, basically the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive and the standard covers. I also just added Jesse Lundberg is doing covers of issues 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to have a Jesse Lundberg tier of covers if you wanted to get those. I have to add that. Now, here's the other thing. Maybe I'll throw this out to the audience.
Yeah.
Let the audience kind of decide is that, I'm kind of on the fence. Do I do a video? Do I not do a video? I know you've encouraged me to do a video, Keith. I've spoken to a couple other comic creators, and some people say, hey, nobody watches the video. Well, I kind of want to do a video anyway, just because we'll need it for the show.
Yeah. Right? I would love to swap it out on the intro here and just put in, that instead. Even if you just did a simple slideshow, most phones have, like an editing program on them. You could just slap pictures together with some words and call it a day.
I've already done that without the words, and it looks kind of hokey.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I don't know.
Amy said she'd watch the video.
Thank you, Amy. You are amazing as always. I appreciate you so much. But sign up page is there, so you can head over to Kickstarter right now to sign up.
Yeah,
we're officially going to launch next Tuesday.
Awesome. What's give everybody the quick pitch, the quick elevator pitch for the series.
So basically Surrounded by Death is like it says right there in the title. It's kind of Mallrats meets The Walking Dead. It's about a group of survivors living out the zombie apocalypse in the mall. So they run out of a very specific resource, and our two leads there that you see in that header image kind of they take the responsibility to kind of help everyone out. Now that's kind of
drive it.
Yeah. So they're driving force of the first two issues. Again, we've got a really special San Diego Comic-Con exclusive tier that's going to actually have a little like brand new 8-pager I'm going to be doing.
Oh, wow. Cool.
That's an epilogue to the first volume. So
nice.
The first volume, the first two issues.
So it makes it, if you have the issue already, makes it worth picking up for this special like story supplement that isn't, is only available as a collectible, I guess, or like an exclusive, right?
So the best part about this is that the two issues, the way issue 2 ends, you can read it and then you can accept it for what it is. But if you're an individual who backs the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive from the 22nd to the 25th, I believe those are the days it's going to be available in the campaign. Okay. There's going to be an 8-page epilogue called The Truth is the Truth. That's going to give you a completely different ending. That's going to be kind of like a secret.
Interesting.
Amongst the characters.
That was a good tease. Tease. So yeah, if you guys want to support Johnny, definitely jump on here, put your email in, and get on the sign up. So when this goes live, you can back it. And we'll be talking about it on this show, I'm sure. It looks like I looked ahead to the schedule today, Johnny, and it looks like we're back on track for our normal schedule going forward the next like month or two, which is kind of good with conventions coming up. So we're going back to our bi-weekly, like every other Wednesday we'll have an episode, which will be nice, give us a little break.
Well, I mean, considering that we've got so much going on that I don't know if we can sustain a multi-episode week anymore.
Yeah, it might be crazy.
Kind of model,
You're going to be in like promotion mode for like every night, so I hear that, man. So, but anyways, enough about us, I guess.
Exactly.
Our guest tonight is I've been on a few shows with him. His name's Brian Cook. He's a great guy. He's more he's not a creator per se, but he's more like on the retail side of things, which is awesome, and he's also what's that?
I was just gonna say, which is okay, because we've had individuals on the show who aren't necessarily comic creators per se, but also very heavily involved in the indie comic community. So
oh yeah, definitely. But I would say he's a creator as far as like ear candy goes.
Sure,
he's like a broadcaster, He also does. I don't know if you remember way back in the day when we were first doing the show, we had Ryan Winn on, who is from Alterna, who does Gods and Gears. He has a show on his channel called The Comic Ship, which is actually a really fun kind of talk show kind of thing. And Brian is one of the co-hosts on there, and they talk about indie comics and music, and we'll get into all of that, which would be great.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more about it.
Yeah. So without further ado, Brian, thanks for joining us. How's it going, man?
Well, it's still bright and sunny outside. The sun hadn't been going down to like 9:30 lately. It still looks like the middle of the day.
I forget. Are you in Texas? Was Austin. That where? Austin. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So is it hot as balls down there?
Oh yeah. It's 1 trillion degrees. Dan Rather, of all people, Dan Rather is from Houston, and my university, Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, Texas, he is by far our most famous graduate. And of all people,
What's the frequency, Kenneth?
Yes. Yeah, and the grassy knoll and other greatest George Bush and the National Guard and so on. But he once said that Texas has 4 seasons. We have summer, July, August, and hurricanes.
I can just imagine.
True.
Yeah, so we're in July. It's right on track.
So have you lived in Texas all your life?
No, I was in the military, and after college, until, I don't know, about 5 years ago. I was heavily involved in the music business. So I've done a lot of traveling around this country and Europe.
Awesome. So how, like, I know you run an eBay store. Like what's your history with like collectibles and everything? Were you like, what were you into when you were younger? Like,
I was a collector and a fan my whole life.
Okay.
And like, even like when I was in the Army, there was other people in my unit who were into stuff, and we'd go to conventions and things like that together. So never like had the story of I put it all away in the attic for 20 years. I didn't do that. But what I mentioned a few minutes ago, a couple years ago, I left the music business. The reason I left is I went back to college, and all of a sudden I had a lot of free time on my hands. And that's when the eBay store came in. This is a hobby that can actually make you a few bucks. And what if it wasn't a hobby? What if it became a business? And it's 3 years later, and now it is.
That's awesome. So this is your primary source of income now.
No, it can be.
Yep.
But well, one, there's always the health insurance thing. But I'm trying to, with the second college degree, enter a new industry. So it's more like I've got the security blanket. If anything goes wrong, I've always got that to fall back on.
It's like a good side hustle.
And more than that, somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
It's really the only thing stopping me from doing it full time is the whole thing with the government and self-insuring and Obamacare. And let's just go to work in the morning. It's easier that way.
So it's funny that you say that, because I worked for an old internet recruitment company that used to be at the top of the charts. And one of my coworkers was just stinking rich. The kid just had too much money. He didn't know what to do with. His office chair was a massage chair, but he worked in telemarketing just like me, right? At the time. So, one guy walks up and goes, "Why are you working here? You have more money than God." And he goes, "You know what? I got a kid and I need health insurance."
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
And he didn't want to, and he didn't want to pay out of pocket. Yeah. Right. So he's just like, I'm going to work and just, do my base minimal and get health insurance.
Let me guess, Johnny. He called out all the time.
They take $100 out of your check versus, if you're paying out of pocket, like, I don't know, Sylvester Stallone or somebody can. Well, even then, he's got the Actors Guild thing, but just straight up out of pocket, it's like $1,000 a month just to walk in the front door, much less if you need anything done.
One more story about health insurance and working, right? Massachusetts. When I got laid off from that said job, they wanted to put me on Cobra, which was like
the worst.
$800 a month or some nonsense. And I'm like, I don't even get enough unemployment to cover this, let alone to, keep it going or whatever. So I just opted to not have insurance for a year until I found something else. So the funny part about it is that Massachusetts will fine you, right, on your taxes for not having health insurance. So for that 1 year, I didn't have health insurance. I think it was like a $450 fine. And I'm like, spending $800 on Cobra, which I'll probably never use, or just taking the hit at the end of the year. Give me the hit at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think I'd rather be bit by a cobra than to actually have Cobra insurance,
Well, enough about my dumb health insurance plan.
But so that's kind of cool. So do you sell primarily comics, or is it everything, like toys? Like, I want to know a little more about your eBay store.
Rough percentage breakdown. I would call it about 60% sports cards,
okay,
20% comic books, and 20% we'll call music. By music, I mean records, tapes, CDs, shirts, all that stuff, the merch.
Yeah, awesome.
So question about sports cards, actually, because I've heard they've actually made a resurgence. Is that something you've always kind of had a finger on the pulse in, or are you seeing kind of an uptick in that recently?
I've been collecting. Sports cards are always the first love. Lifelong Houston Astros fan. I've been doing that since I was 9 years old. And like I said, never really left. Like, obviously, I wasn't, the year I was in Bosnia, I wasn't buying any baseball cards, There's been times where it slowed down, but never was out of it. And so you develop a sixth sense I don't know. I would compare it to those like Wall Street people that can do the EBITDA analysis on a company and pick a stock.
Trends,
almost like that. So to answer your question, yeah, I caught the wave about a year before the public did, and if we have a moment to tell a story about my favorite football player of all time, and his name is Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
I bought. Okay, do you know the difference, like the regular Topps card and the Topps Chrome, or the Donruss and the Donruss Optic? That one has like the finish on it as opposed to just regular cardboard.
You're talking to a bunch of comic collectors who collected comic cards in the 90s that were all like chromium or hologram or you know what I mean? And
so
if you didn't have this set, it wasn't worth squat.
Oh no, revisit that now. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll circle back, as they say, because prices have jumped on the non-sports stuff too. But
Interesting.
As a general rule, the Chrome version is worth more than the paper version of the same card, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes, I bought the cardboard ones for $6 a piece, and the Chrome ones, so it's Optic, Donruss, same thing. The fancy one for I think $22 a piece. They're now $200 and $500 each. So that is my greatest hit.
I gotta go flip through my folders and see if I have any hidden gems. Who needs a Kickstarter? I'll sell a few cards.
Oh yeah. The funny thing about that is the reason I got the price so low. If there's any filmmakers or comic book creators or someone out there, here is one of those behind the music, true Hollywood story, ESPN 30 for 30 stories that's just brutal. The Magic Golden Boy quarterback that year was a guy named Mitch Trubisky. The Bears traded up to pick him over Patrick Mahomes. Trubisky is now the backup somewhere. He's not with the Bears anymore. And Patrick Mahomes is now playing his way into the Hall of Fame. That is going to go down as one of the biggest boners in draft history. Of the Bears did what?
And you're seeing that
passed on Mahomes, but they
prices?
traded up to pass on Mahomes. Great job, guys. There's your story right there.
That's awesome. Adam Warlock said, Brian, been meaning to tell you for a while. I like how your comic collection is organized behind you.
This was like a major effort. These are from IKEA. I don't have like an endorsement with them. I just use the products, right? But if I'll pull hey, let's give Alterna Comics here.
Oh, nice.
Publicity.
Nice.
But I went and printed out, all the logos of Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and everything else.
I like it.
Filed by type, and these little magazine boxes. And then, Keith, I'm unprepared. Mighty Mascots is in the other room.
Oh,
that's a party foul.
I always keep mine very close by.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Johnny.
So then it came out on a Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
They're all alphabetized. It is a literal library in here because if I'm not organized, I can't find anything.
I love it though.
And you don't want boxes of shit all over the floor. Excuse my French, but
you need to find your, like when you need something, you need to know exactly where it is. Especially when you have.
What I look for, or look. What's the word? A big red flag is the infamous LCS with the comic book guy from The Simpsons, where it's just boxes of shit everywhere.
Yeah.
That is a major thumbs down. I definitely don't want to live like that,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Especially if you're. It also looks good if you're a seller too. I mean, if people look, see you on a show and they see how organized you are, that also sends that image of like, oh, this guy's going to ship it really nice and it's going to be secure and packed and everything like that. So are you seeing, so you said you sell some comics. Are you seeing like, what's like the hot book now going? Is it by creators still, or is it like variant covers? What's going on?
Variant covers, right? It's got to be.
No. That
really?
Marvel was the last bullet in the head on that, and I don't. So full disclosure, I guess it was about 2018, 2017. It was 2018. The Infinity Wars. This was really the last Marvel storyline I genuinely enjoyed. Okay. Then it got woke after that. We know what happened, right?
Yeah.
So I've not been following the characters or the stories, just the market performance. This is not an indictment of any creators or anything like that.
Right,
it's just whether it's sold or not. So there was some storyline. I think it was Heroes Reborn or Heroes Reborn Again. Some new.
Yeah, there's something that just came out, right? Like
they basically took the Heroes Reborn storyline from the 90s when they killed off all their core characters and put them in like a sub-universe, and they revisited that again. It's like retreading. It's basically what they're retreading everything. Infinity was just retreading Infinity War.
Right, and they're about to retread Inferno again in the X-Men.
Oh, man, no, they're not. They're going to be out of business because here's how Marvel sucked that shit. All right. Apple Comics in Los Angeles. I believe Hollywood, our Southern California friends can correct me. It ain't out in the wilderness. It's in the middle of town. We put in big orders for stuff, right? When that new storyline came out, Marvel had something like 200 different covers for the issue 1, and there were 75 pre-orders. They didn't even sell one of each cover. It's done. It's over.
Wow.
So that's like you think they would have learned in the 90s when they almost went bankrupt, right?
Now, it gets worse.
They got Disney.
That's
back
a good
around.
shift in like wow, that's a big shift.
But you know what, Keith? That opens the door for indies.
I know.
So one step at a time.
Yeah.
I'm talking to myself. Don't mentally get crisscrossed. So do y'all have where you live Second and Charles, half-price books? Hastings went out of business. But any of the like Media Play, those chains that'll buy used stuff, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I was in there 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I saw this from the.
Let me bring you.
Oh my
God! That's like isn't that a huge? That's a high end book, right?
That's what I thought. The Dark Knight's Metal, the original storyline, right?
Yeah,
I saw this in the used bin. It was $3.
Okay.
As recently as 2018, this was going for $30, and I thought, okay, I'm going to turn $3 into $30. No problem.
Yeah.
I have a mechanism for this. I just buy it sight unseen. My phone's in my pocket. I don't use it to check it. That's the lesson here. Use the internet to check this stuff. All right. So I get home. I look. eBay has a thing called TerraPack Research. There we go. 90 days, 100 days, 1 year. You get detailed sales analysis. So 2018 to last month, this thing has dropped down to $6. So it lost 80% of its value in 3 years. What has happened in that 3 years' time that would get everybody to turn on Marvel and DC?
I wonder.
Especially the recent back issues, totally tanking them. The one bright spot I've heard, and this is where I don't know the details of this stuff, so don't crucify me here. There was a Batman issue that I think it's Minecraft, or there's some video game that it has the magic code inside of it. Yep. And people bought the crap out of that because they want that code. It's not because they love the Batman issue, you know? No, the big two are in trouble. Big trouble.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, why did that sell? Is because people just want that code. And it's not because they want to read the book, you know?
That's like 2 years ago at San Diego Comic-Con, people, you know, going more nuts for like Neopets codes than, you know, comic exclusives that were the next booth over, you know? It's mind-blowing.
But that's huge, Johnny. I mean, like, because Heroes Reborn was supposed to be a big event, and the fact that they didn't sell any covers, that's a huge shift.
That is huge.
It bombed. It like Ishtar bombed. It like Geely bombed. You know?
Wow. Wow, no kidding. So what's actually selling? Are people looking for older stuff or first appearances? Is that what's the big thing now?
We call them key issues, right?
Okay.
So I guess more recent ones within the last 25 years, New Mutants 98, that's somebody's first appearance, right?
Yeah.
Infinity Gauntlet #1, because number ones are just number ones, and that has the Thanos snap. What are some Walking Dead #1? There's a handful of big name, big attention books, they're all getting graded. All those what we call the key issues. So first appearances, number ones, first the writer taking over, first new artist taking over, that kind of stuff. Those are getting graded. Those are becoming, investments. They're getting locked in bank vaults. They're not being read.
Right.
So there's, and I'm not proselytizing for one way or another. I see positives to both, but that's definitely the direction. The hard sell is stuff like Silver Surfer 33 to fill my collection. Not a whole lot of people looking for that, especially when they can get on Comixology and just read whatever.
Right. Yeah, interesting. Wow.
So it's funny. In the early 2000s, I was flipping a few books, and I compiled a couple of them when the first Spider-Man movie came out, because it's kind of like whenever the movie comes out, that's when the book prices will jump. So I grabbed the first appearance of the Green Goblin, the Death of the Green Goblin, the World Trade Center issue, which was hot at the time, the black cover one, and a third issue. And the third issue was real junk, something I just had to unload, right? So the quality on that first one wasn't that great, but I think all said and done, I spent $330 on all the books together and ended up getting $950 from it. So it was one of those nice things. But the key being that when you bundle them, right, you take a bunch of those key issues, you bundle them all together, you unload some of the crap ones you don't want in the process, which drives the price up. But people are seeking those key issues, so they'll buy that lot.
They'll buy the whole run, yeah.
One, right, yeah. At least that's one of the tactics from when I was, doing the flipping and all that stuff back then.
So are you gonna start pulling back on comics, Brian, because it's getting so bad, or is it
because it's almost like how I explained with the sports, that if you've been doing it for so long and don't have big gaps, basically if you know the history of the industry, as opposed to, not to go there, just making one statement, it's why I hate all the woke crap and all the everyone became Jesse Jackson Part 2 overnight. You're ignoring market forces that exist no matter how you feel. No matter what you believe, this stuff still happens anyway. And a lot of important information is being lost in the shuffle. Somewhere along the way here, there is some big 2 book in the last couple years that's going to explode and be a collector's item. Maybe it's that Punchline guy. Maybe it's something like that. But something good came out during that ocean of garbage. And the complete flip side, this is definitely what I'm keeping an eye for. Let's call it the Indiegogo crowd, the IGG, because it's more than just Alterna comics. There's a lot of people that are straight up DIY. Yep. Somebody out of that group is going to be Kurt Cobain. Somebody out of that group is going to be Tupac Shakur. They're going to cross over into regular mainstream society. They're going to be the Ninja Turtles. Who is it?
Right. It's like you almost
Keith
like
Gleason, Mighty Mascots.
I hope. I wish. I don't think my book will be that, but you never know.
But you know what I mean?
What about Surrounded by Death?
It's not going to have a big slick marketing plan. It's not going to have ads on the side of the bus. It's going to be like a Nirvana happened. You go from a van and playing to 100 people that hate you. All of a sudden, I'm on MTV.
Right. Well, I mean, like you said, market history, because you look at like what happened with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and things like that, and
that was a perfect blend of like the era at the time.
Yeah, Walking Dead, you could kind of contribute that to, things like that nature that are kind of out there, but they're not on people's radar until it's hot,
Hey, another one for our deep-pocketed viewers, for Elon Musk, who we know is a fan out there, okay, if you've got some serious disposable income, I would take a hard look at the high-grade 9.6, 9.8 versions of the old Aircell Men in Black. The pre-Will Smith ones. Those are hard to come by. And people know what Men in Black is.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's true, because that they're going to, at some point redo that series as a movie or a cartoon
Like
or something.
Every 10 years or so. I'm honestly surprised that Hollywood Inc. hasn't done this with like Smokey and the Bandit, of just get the hot new guy in there about every 10 years. And
Yeah,
just
right.
make the movie over and over, you know?
Yeah.
I know. We should be running Hollywood.
Well, Smokey and the Band is just Fast and the Furious now. If we really want to,
I want
hold
to
them
say
side
it
by
was,
side.
might have been Spencer at Death Curse. I'm pretty sure it was Spencer at Death Curse. Somebody correct me if it was, and said something very funny. The Fast and the Furious movies are kind of like Marvel movies, except the super suits are cars.
Yeah, no, it's true.
True.
Oh my God, it's true.
Actually, I think one of the funniest things I heard about those movies is the comedian Paul Scheer said that they're like it's like a Vin Diesel fanfic if it was written by Vin Diesel. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the franchise has nowhere left to go but outer space now, right? Is that where the next
Yeah.
I
I
don't know,
going
I
underground in the Illuminati tunnels, you know?
Yeah, right.
No, you reminded me of something just now, and this goes back to stupid music and entertainment trivia and that kind of thing.
Yeah, bring it
You
on.
said the name Vin Diesel, right? I guess this is why we have the internet. I remember there was an actor named Chuck Zito who infamously beat up Jean-Claude Van Damme. Before he was an actor, he was the doorman at Scores, the strip club in Manhattan, right?
He was a character,
man. The same kind of thing. He was the doorman somewhere. I cannot remember. Was it the Limelight? It was
somewhere like that. Yeah, he used to have a show on Sirius too, and it was like that guy's done some shit.
Yeah, but he's not one of these
bastard.
pampered Hollywood, I went to Juilliard and I did Broadway. It's like he was the doorman at the club. He's a regular guy,
Yeah.
That's so true. We got some funny comments in the audience. Go ahead, Johnny. What were you going to say?
I was just kidding. Channing Tatum was like a male stripper. He's like, I'll make a movie about my life. And then he's just popular,
Yeah. Gingerton saying Keith is the next Tupac.
Yeah, he is.
We just don't go to Vegas. It ain't my Tyson fight.
Johnny, you'll have to shoot me when I'm coming out of my house or something.
We should shoot each other actually and just do like a fake feud like they did back in the day.
Yeah, there you go.
We just can't break kayfabe.
Yeah. Yeah, we could stare each other down at cons and stuff.
Yeah.
Be great. Let me see. He launched a car into space. I think he has disposable cash. Yeah,
he's gonna buy all of them and corner the market.
The action in Marvel movies are more plausible than the action in Fast and the Furious. I got to agree with him there. And Keith's next performance will be a hologram. Maybe.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, Brian, because like you said, you're a broadcaster or you study broadcasting. How did you become involved with Ryan doing the comic ship show?
Okay, so we gotta trace the timeline, right?
Yeah. Like, do you know Ryan going way back or
no?
Oh, really?
No, I did not. He's a semi-recent acquaintance. Okay,
really? Okay.
So I was in the Army, and then I went to college. I got my journalism degree, and I did regular news for about a year. And, regular news. I was doing like the girls' volleyball game, flu shots at Walgreens, not exciting stuff. So it's like, let's just freelance, always wanted to write about music, always wanted to be in a band. It's like, let's do this while we can. So moved to Austin, did that for about 10 years. Okay. Went back to college. This time I got a drafting degree. I finished my classwork in May of last year. Something happens in March of last year where everyone has to start wearing masks and all that. So I had kind of taken a step back from music anyway, but all of a sudden music was gone. I mean, I live in Austin. That's
huge.
You're not here for music. There's no point in being here.
Yeah, you guys have South by Southwest, all that media.
I have gone basically. If I wasn't traveling when I was in the Army, I've gone every year since '96 or '97. I've worked South by a lot. That's a big part of my life, and it came screeching to a halt during the pandemic. So I had to find something else to do, and that's when I discovered the YouTube community And I'd been a fan of Alterna comics in particular for, I don't know, about 3-4 years before that, but started participating in the open mics and the channel and the message boards and all that. And that's when Ryan entered the pictures. We got to know each other. And he's from Southern California. I grew up in Houston. And they're similar kind of cities. And we realized we had similar backgrounds. And it's like, okay, we get along. And then we met John. And John lives in Houston now. And that's how we got to know each other. It's like, okay, we get along. And Ryan started slowly bringing us into his show. And it originally started, this whole thing was just to promote my eBay store, blastbeatatx.
Okay.
And we started, I don't know, the podcast, it started feeling like being in a band again, where you're working with other people to a common goal. And comedy came back into my life, where it's like I said in the intro, that I'm not a comic book creator, but I am a professional writer, and it's going in this direction now. It's we're just following the muse and following the inspiration river. There's no big marketing plan or grand scheme behind it. And it's just all of us are using the tools we have together. So it's all those different life experiences just really coming into place right now on the new show.
Yeah, I've been on the show, which I had a great time, and I've watched a handful of episodes. It's really a fun show that you guys put together, Johnny. It's like
making it. I'm a fan of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, you guys got the segments. It's like the Tonight Show. Honestly, it's like, is that the inspiration behind it?
Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
Okay, yeah, that's what it feels like
after Leno.
Yeah, like, because Brian comes on, he has like what is it called, the Man on the Street, where you talk about a different like heavy metal album or something every time your segment comes on.
I lean heavy, that's my taste, but I really try to go out of my way to not make it only metal, you know.
Oh, okay. So you try to
denominator is independent bands.
Oh, okay.
Jay-Z doesn't need my help to sell records. Neither does Linkin Park. Smack. Let's help, especially the newer bands. I like doing a lot of first releases and demos and that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, the whole theme is kind of indie comics too, right? Because
that's what John said. John and I are like two sides of the same coin, and he does the same kind of digging, but he'll either find like a vintage undiscovered gem or a new independent title that needs more eyes on it. But again, the big people don't need our help.
Yeah, definitely. And John, I think, is coming on our show. I think he's the next guest in 2 weeks. So it'll be good to talk to him and see how he got involved and talk about his campaign. He's got an awesome campaign that what is it? It's a Black Dragon or
Tiger.
Black Tiger. Looks really good. Yeah, Johnny, check that one out. That's our next
Black
guest
Tiger
coming in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's a really nice looking campaign. Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. I have to ask about how Nega Keith came up into the show, because it's become a part of the show now, which is amazing.
Well, it's a glimpse into our writing process.
Okay,
I always get a kick out of it when people say it's like your show polished. Trust me, we're not polished. It's just a lot of that's natural talent. We're writing 5 minutes before showtime.
Oh, are you really?
And one of the techniques we've come up with is if somebody has an idea, you just tell them the idea. It doesn't even have to be fully formed. A lot of times I'll come up with titles. It's just, do you like this title? And we'll build around that. And so Ryan came up with that graphic where he did like the negative space of your photo and added the effects. And he came up with the title. He's like, hey, what do y'all think of this? And me and John just, I don't know, immediately started writing lines for the character of like fast.
Yeah, Johnny. So basically, when I was on the show, I think that's the first appearance of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was on the show, they took a screenshot of me, right? And they just wrote Nega Keith, and it's like me with like this energy coming out of my eyes, and like I guess it's supposed to be the negative version of myself,
like Nega Scott from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Yeah, that's awesome.
And I thought it was just on that one episode that I was on, but they've been using it since, I think, right?
You're
it
a
been
taken on a
recurring
life of its
character.
own.
Yeah.
Because if
what's
we
that?
don't,
You're like
Wait, if we don't
Robot
put it
Pimp
on
from
the
Conan
show-
O'Brien.
Yeah, something like that. But what we're going to
people
say?
will ask for it if we don't put it on the show, because there's another
really?
other episodes where we'll have a skit or whatever we'll do, and that's got our focus, and someone in the shadow, where's Nega Keith? And so yeah.
I showed it to my wife for the first time because she didn't see the my interview on the show originally, and I was like, "Oh, check out what these guys are doing," and she laughed her ass off when she saw it. And they recently just did you guys just did like a Family Matters intro, and Nega Keith's in that too for some reason. So great.
Driving factor, correct my vocabulary later,
Yeah.
edit this out and put whatever the correct word is. Principle, whatever it is, that we want to stand out from the pack. We're going to do what we think is a good show, but we just don't want. You say we suck, that's fine. We probably do suck, but we don't want to be the same as everyone else. So that's a big thing of like, be different, draw in other influences, think outside the box, right?
Yeah.
So specifically that NBC era of Conan O'Brien, like that's kind of our interaction, but a lot of our skits and the Nega Keith and the aesthetic of the show, I'd say y'all are old enough to remember this. Late night MTV back in the 90s. Okay, back when you had Alternative Nation and Headbangers Ball and 120 Minutes and Yo MTV Raps and Liquid Television and all that, like, let's just be weird just to be weird.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Oddities, I mean, all that stuff.
Yeah, we're trying to ride that train hard.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I was going to see if I could find the clip with Nega Keith here, just so you could see it, Johnny. It's pretty funny.
I was going to say that, there's a certain there's certain things missing. I feel like from like just like pop culture and things nowadays, like MTV, like obviously doesn't show music videos or anything like that anymore, or at least they don't do it like on their regular channel. That you have to get like a 3rd tier subscription for that, and
YouTube sank their ship.
Yeah, and it's just like it's a different animal now. It's like it's trying to find the same lightning in the bottle, but in a different kind of environment. God
bless YouTube, and yes, God bless the masturbating bear.
Yeah,
and the FedEx Pope and Pimpbot 5000. Yeah, that is our big influence.
Yeah, so I found sort of the clip, I think, of the first appearance of Nega Keith. So let me see if I can play this. So you can check this out, Johnny. You're gonna laugh your ass off. Yeah,
please. I'd love it.
All right, so let me see. It's about right. Yeah, here we go. Let me know if you guys can hear it. Stuff around that era was killer.
Yeah.
I thought I could.
Well, all right. You're doing pretty good. Your points are adding up here. But what happened, I made a mistake. When Keith was in the brig, I was feeding him cereal, and I fed him some Nega comic ship cereal by accident instead of regular flavor. So in order to get off the ship, Keith is going to have to face Nega Keith. I have no idea. These questions are going to be dark, negative. I don't know where they're going.
Dark and
I hope
negative.
you can defeat Nega Keith. Regular Keith.
Okay, I'll try.
Question.
What is the worst cereal you've ever had?
Negative.
I got an answer for you. I just had it recently. It was Crayola cereal. It was a cereal that was trying to be like pieces of a Crayola brand.
What?
Was it successful in tasting like Crayola?
No, it was absolutely terrible. And I follow that up with like the new Monster cereals. They changed something in the formula. Doesn't taste as good.
It didn't taste like crayons.
So it's kind of a taste of that show.
I love that you had like the mean like little brow thing.
Yeah. But I thought that was the end of it, and then come to find out these guys have been continuing to use it.
There's been 2 or 3 more, and there's a couple more in the pipeline. I like the one Ryan wrote it of you're kind of like the like haunting the ship, and he's trying to work, and you talk to him. That's going to be a running thing. Yeah.
When is it? Where is that? Is it on one of the recent ones?
I mean, we could sit here and talk while I try to find it real quick.
Yeah. So, if I wanted to get linked up with this, where can I go to subscribe? Is it on YouTube?
So let me share the.
Matter of fact,
so this is the. It's if you look up Ryan Winn Inking, I think is the name of the channel, or just look up Ryan Winn Comic Shipped. You can subscribe to the show, and I highly recommend that you do. I like Brian, I like Ryan, and I like John. I think they're all great hosts, and they are doing something in the vein of Conan O'Brien, which I commend. And I think you guys are accomplishing what you want to do, Brian, by standing out, because I think everybody that's watched this, I think, really enjoys it. I see people talking about it on Twitter, and I think you guys are filling a niche that you don't normally see on YouTube, because usually YouTube is like people just throw the camera on and that's it. There's no thought behind the show or nothing. You know what I mean? They just start talking, and not like Indie Comics Relay, but like
that's the genesis of our evolution. Because I started, like, if we want to compare podcasting to stand-up comedy, which I did for 2 years, it's another story. I got to a fork in the road to where if I'm gonna be a comedian, I gotta be a comedian, and I don't know if I want to live that life. So I went down the other road.
It's funny. I did the same thing. I did stand-up for about a year or so.
I didn't suck. I got some momentum,
Yeah, me too. I did too. I was performing at Catch a Rising Star and stuff like that. The problem with stand-up, and it's much like the band life, is like you have to be willing to give up everything and just travel and go to. And I couldn't do it. It just
I got stuff here,
I wasn't. With me, I wasn't passionate about it as I was about like writing comics, and I liked doing it. It was a good way to pass time, and it also helped me get out of my shell a lot. I don't know if that's the same with you. I mean, I'm kind of.
I never had stage fright.
I did. Like I remember bombing my second time trying it, and I was just like, I remember like buckets of sweat on my face, and I'm like, oh my Lord, I must look like an asshole.
No, I had that punk rock attitude where I keep going if I bomb. I'm going to do the whole set because I know the public speaking techniques. And there's a couple jokes I did where the stupid snowflakes here in Austin would boo me. That gets me going more. I love getting booed.
What was the gist of your sets? Were you self-deprecating, or were you?
I don't think this is offensive. If you think your own shadow's offensive, then go jump off a bridge, But here is
disclaimer: Brian's thoughts are his own. Yada yada bullshit, all that nonsense.
Told this on my own show, so it's not new material. But this joke would get me booed in Austin on the regular. Okay. So we have the Austin City Limits Music Festival, ACL Fest, and that has some big names and big crowds, right? But who is actually in those crowds? I know because I've been there. I used to get free passes. The people who buy those tickets are either 21-year-old trust fund kids that go to UT, or they're 55-year-old surgeons sitting on a ton of money and are trying to relive their youth because they were studying the entire time, right? Those are the people who actually buy the tickets in the ACL Fest. And in 2014, Eminem headlined Saturday night. Eminem, 8 Mile Eminem, that Eminem, came to Austin and played for a bunch of 21-year-old trust fund kids and 55-year-old surgeons. Not his typical crowd. And hey, it's a free country. People see what they want. Those people that bought those expensive tickets wanted to see him tell the stories of the hard times in Detroit. And from Eminem's point of view, you got to understand he wants to broaden his horizons too. He wants to know what it's finally like to play a concert with 0 black people in attendance.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that would not fly. But that's all. I feel like before 2016, you could tell that joke, and
it happened before then, because I had ran into things, and we are going to turn this back and dovetail back into podcasting here in a second.
Yeah.
But I ran into a thing that, like I said, the punk rock mentality. I go in hard. I've got my stuff. I don't wing it on stage. I guess it's the writer in me. Everything's rehearsed. Everything's scripted.
Same. That's what I used to do with stand-up. I would have the whole act planned out. And
it got to a point where all those open mic nights, I'm the only person there not doing Tinder jokes, not doing Donald Trump jokes. And it's oh my Lord. And so the podcasting thing, it got to a point like that with those open mics. And I'm sure you guys as creators, you're promoting your books, you get tired of hearing the same 5 questions over and over on every show. You get tired of a bunch of heads staring at each other and nothing's going on, And not that there's a bunch of action, but this is a good conversation.
Yeah,
they don't have either,
Well, like the way we've approached this show, and me and Johnny, obviously we talk about, those 5 questions, obviously, but we're not against going off the rails and going in other directions and talking about other things. And I think that's where just a natural conversation, it's like, where it's like sort of, we talked earlier about it, like the Howard Stern kind of style of interview where you just kind of, you're interviewing, but it's more of like a conversation between people rather than like a standard, like, here's the question, the next question,
I'm a big talk radio fan, have been my whole life. What I don't like is not to kick a guy when he's down and dead, but the old Larry King style. I don't like what Larry King would do, especially in the later years. Because here's what you do. I'm Larry King. You're Keith Gleason. I am just reading something else here.
Right.
Not looking at you or paying attention. It's, Keith Gleason for the United States. I hear you're an illustrator. I am reading something else and not paying attention to you. So, Keith Gleason, you're an illustrator. When did you start drawing? That is how he would do his interviews. It was painful. And it's starting to, like I said, everyone's at different skill levels in their writing and public speaking and all that. I'm not going to get down on people's presentations, but you can control what questions you ask.
Yeah, right. And it's even some of the talk show hosts have that kind of style too. It's like, so tell me about the movie you're in, like, what's this I read? You almost had a cat one time, or I mean, it's like that typical like talk show formula.
It's less like the conversational format of the heyday, and more about like the Entertainment Tonight bite-sized clips that you see like in your hotel, like on the TV that Mario Lopez is on for 3 minutes giving some bullshit about whatever movies you can order. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like surface level nonsense. Whereas like if you look back in the day, like those talk shows, the Tonight shows, things like that, they were just more conversational. They would kind of break people out of their shells.
Yeah, definitely. Harry says Larry King never read his guest book. Yeah, I believe it. I believe you could tell. You could tell.
If we have a second here, you talk about that, and it's not just with interviewing. It's television, the internet, social media. Man, everybody needs to take this stuff with a grain of salt, okay? Here is a living example of what happened to me. You remember a show called Bar Rescue?
Yes.
I never watched it, but I'm aware of it, yeah.
I was in an episode of it. I'm in the episode where they remodeled the Brixton in Austin, Texas.
Were you part of like the team or whatever? Like
no. Here's what happened. My friend from when I worked at AT&T, his roommate was one of the bartenders at the Brixton. He was like on the show and had lines and blah, blah, blah. One of the nights that the film crew was there filming, the guy who was the host wasn't there, but the film crew was there. What they call that, B-roll? That he gave us the heads up of like, hey guys, get down to the bar. They're here if you want to be on the show. And like we had to show ID and fill out a form and the whole 9 yards. They weren't just letting the public in. So me and my buddy, because the other guy is actually at work being on the show, we're playing pool with these 2 girls. There's a cameraman and a sound man. They film us for an hour while we're chit-chatting and playing pool and all that. So go to the show. I can't remember where it is. It's like 12 minutes or something like that. It's before they do the big remodel.
Okay.
I'm in the thing where they go from one scene to another, and you see me for like 1 second as they cut to of like shoot it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of like it was this
did
massive.
You use any of that stuff?
No, like 1 second of it, maybe 2 seconds, and they filmed us for an hour. They were there all week.
I have a similar experience. I was my buddy was on the show Comic Book Men, and I ended up going with him to film his segment. He had like he had one of the most rare like stretch Hulks ever.
Wow.
And so they asked me if I wanted to be in the background pretending to read books, like because all the people you see in the background are just friends of whoever's on the show. And I said, yeah, sure. But they wouldn't let me wear my T-shirt because it was like something, I don't know. I had something on there that like, wouldn't
license
fly on.
something.
Yeah, license something
like that.
So they gave me this. They didn't have my size shirt, so they gave me like this tight, like gray shirt. So like I'm like sitting there in the background with this tight shirt, like my fat's going over everywhere. And I'm sitting there pretending to read books. It's like the funniest shit. and my buddy John, that was trying to sell the stuff, he could see me in his peripheral vision, and he was trying not to crack up while he was on the show because it was just like so damn funny. But same thing, he had some awesome segments with those guys, but they cut all the great stuff. It was like unbelievable, like what they decide to use versus like what gets cut out, and
that's why production budgets are ridiculous, right? They spend a day filming and then they use like 3 seconds of it.
And the way that it's not real in that, they take my episode, right? They probably did the editing 4 months after it was filmed. In that time, they can make you look however you want,
Yeah,
they make
right.
you look like Charlie's Angels. They can make you look like worse than Hitler, whatever, and there's so many of them, like not just Bar Rescue, but a lot of those reality shows of just, this isn't what happened,
Yeah, it just shows you they're all BS,
Yeah, really.
Just to coin
They're reality shows.
Yeah,
the
reality.
point is
Unscripted.
it's bleeding over into YouTube, into social media. And I love when people on Instagram get busted, like they take the picture of themselves in the private plane, and that plane was like some strangers on the airport that was parked, like you just snuck in into the picture.
Yeah, you're right. Everyone's like like they have the perfect life on Instagram, and it's like it's all staged, and
it's ridiculous.
It is. Everyone treats their whole life like that. I saw that you sent me the link here, so I wanted to show that.
Let's fire that up.
Yeah,
this is the future of Nega Keith. It's gonna be more stuff like this.
All right, let me see if we can get this queued up here. All right, hang on.
Sebastian Bonet in the house.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's definitely a character on the show and a fan favorite so far. But like 3 minutes flat. Remember, this one was recorded in 1980.
Is it right after this?
No, you gotta go back.
I'm gonna go back. Okay.
Oh yeah, Metallica. They were really
Like
rocking
the
and rolling
3 minute
in
mark, you
88 with
say?
Injustice. Right there.
Okay. Is this your new intro?
One of them.
One of them.
This is my chance to get on the show. The theme of the show is experiments. I have an experiment for him. Captain?
What do you want, NK?
I don't want to interrupt.
Well, you did. I was doing the bookkeeping, and now I'm not.
Well, first let me thank you for taking me in.
I had nothing to do with that. You manifested yourself on the ship, and I can't get you to leave.
Well, I've got treasure to tell you about. I put hours and hours of thought into this while scraping barnacles. Hear me out, and you'll be wanting me on the show this week. I swear.
Fine.
The age-old argument, Kickstarter or Indiegogo. On one, you're expected to make a 10-minute video about your book, and the other expects you to run a store after your campaign funds. Both expect you to build your own page, manage said page, print the comic, and then fulfill it as well. These are all things that hold back so many creators from launching their dreams. I propose to create a new site that understands the need for both comic creators and their fans and supporters. The two-party system shall be no more. The way of the crowdfunding future is here, and it is NegaKeith, super helpful both for creators and fans. Crowdfunding website page.com. I've already bought the domain. Ooh.
Yeah, we kind of did that clutch cargo thing with you.
This week. He's going to be talking about his new book, Glow City Blues, and its premiere on a new crowdfunding site, Zoop. And they pretty much do all the things you just said. So how about less yapping and more scraping? The port side's a mess with barnacles, and I want to get back to listening to Punker in the Headlights.
Fantastic.
You know,
Bought the domain.
I think it's fair
Ryan
to
must have
say.
had like theater experience because he bounced off NegaKeith so very well.
Oh my lord, who's voicing NegaKeith?
That's Ryan. And I think the trick to that is Ryan does all our video editing. He must have done that in a former life because he has the really good comedic timing. I don't know. I got the snappy dialogue. John has the good delivery. Ryan really can make those graphics and the things like that not just look good, but have the timing of it. If it was off by a second or so, it wouldn't be funny, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Did he pre-record that?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic.
And I think it's fair to say that NegaKeith is to us what like Q was to Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Okay.
It's just, we can't get rid of this guy, you know?
I love it. I'm honored that you guys are using it. I'm glad it's a character in the show. I think it's fantastic.
Well,
And it's also funny that NegaKeith came up with Zoop too. Which I think is a horrible.
I can't speak for the other guys. I don't think they feel the same way. But for me, two of my biggest writing influences and probably my biggest comedy influences are Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld. I love Seinfeld. I love both of them and all their stuff before and after. And the guiding principle of Seinfeld is be funny. Well, there was another one, no hugging, no flirting, but that's a different issue. The whole thing is just be funny no matter what. And that's what we're doing. So things like NegaKeith, it happens organically.
Yeah.
If we think it's funny, everyone else thinks it's funny, let's just keep going.
Yeah, definitely. I see the comedic value in it. I love it.
The funniest stuff is usually organic anyway. You can tell when something's forced, you know?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Johnny, hit these guys up when you do the campaign. You should check out that show.
Oh, yeah.
Be on it.
Well, I've got you subscribed now because I'm kind of sold. So it's funny. I've been actually listening to so I listened to Stern growing up as well, but I kind of I fell more on the side of Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
Because
we never had them in Texas.
Oh, you never did. Okay.
We had them in Boston, and then they went to Satellite, and kind of carried over from there.
Were you at AAF when they were there?
I started literally like a month after. Dave got canned for the Menino stuff, and then my internship started. It was like September or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have a station up here, Brian, AAF, that used to be like
Had.
Yeah, it used to be the station.
The place. I know them because they were world renowned for breaking new bands. Again, that's one of my influences of they discovered Godsmack. They discovered
Godsmack,
Tree. They discovered Stained. A lot of those kind of northeastern bands.
Oh, I love Tree. See, I never knew Tree actually broke out of Boston.
Too. What'd you say, Johnny?
It's one of those. They're from Vermont or somewhere, you know. I think of Boston the way Dallas is. If you're into Dallas, there's Plano and Irving and Arlington and Denton and all. The whole big ball of shit is just Dallas. And so to me, the whole big ball of New England is just Boston.
Yeah, it really is.
But that station, though, for a while there, Johnny, I mean, every DJ was awesome. They had a great show. They had
John Osterland.
Yeah, he was great.
He was awesome.
I went to high school with Mistress Carrie. She graduated with me in Leominster. Yeah. And
it's funny. So I used to intern for Greg Hill in the morning show, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the last day of AAF on air, I just happened to run into her in a gas station. And we kind of recognized each other. I was like, I'm so sorry for the format change. She goes, no, you don't understand. Like, they're shutting us down and opening up a Christian rock station. It's like AAF, the place where Whip 'em Out Wednesday happened, the place where,
right.
like all this debauchery and even the shit I saw in person. Like, I saw a woman turn herself inside out live on the air. Like, I was in the studio holding the microphone to this person, right? Like, all this happened, and now they're a Christian rock station. Blows my mind.
That's crazy, yeah. And it's because radio's gone down, so bad.
It's tragic. At some point, somebody's going to have to step in, some Elon Musk, Donald Trump deep pocket type, and start buying up stations, clear channel styles. It's very similar to the big two of. It's not like people stopped listening to radio. It's not like people don't like. People love the radio so much. Podcasting became a thing. They're sick of bad radio. They're sick of bad comic books.
Well, same with podcasting. I mean, 98% of them are terrible. It's like, so it's
the dilemma is that back then, you really had to invest in the gear to do like your own recording of anything, or like a radio show or whatever the case may be, like public radio or whatever. Now, like, anybody can do this, like, in their spare time without actually learning the craft. So it's like either they get better over the time, or they're a natural, or they know what they're doing going into it, and you can kind of see the difference,
Yeah, if there's a plan in place or not. Yeah.
Takes me to one of my 100% serious. One of my favorite subjects in college was communications theory. I love that nerd stuff. And what you're talking about there of, big difference between radio and, let's just call it the internet, all the different various factions and forms of it, is a hot medium versus a cool medium. Hot medium comes to you. Radio goes to you. You turn the receiver on and they pick what's on. Internet's a cool medium. You go to it and you pick what you want to see, but the way it hits the brain is completely different. And it's easy to get into those well-worn patterns, having your podcast look like Joe Rogan, having your radio show sound like Howard Stern, that kind of thing. But the good stuff is the stuff that breaks away. Am I babbling too much?
No, I like this stuff.
Not at all. No, this is awesome.
Yeah, don't think about it. And it is. So anyway, the point of what that was is I encourage everyone to start podcasting, but it's like being a comedian. Of start with the open mics. You're not going to be good right away. Okay, you're going to suck for a long
our first
time
episode was a disaster.
Until you get together. And there's so many people that 3 to 6 months later, they're not famous right away and they quit and go away. Break that barrier and keep going and you'll probably be all right.
Yeah, I mean, like we've been doing it over a year now, and it's like we've seen like growth, in the last 6 months, and we're doing something right. It's like we have a pretty steady audience every time we go live, and it's getting there. It's like I don't think we're blowing anything up yet, but I'd like to get to 1,000 subscribers and then see what happens from there.
That's where the tough love comes in. And I'm talking to myself and my own show, and everyone else has to be listening. Okay, if you've ever heard the name Aubrey Huff, he used to play for the San Francisco Giants. Remember, I'm a big baseball guy. Okay. His current career is he's a Trump-loving moron, and he's a big blabbermouth on Twitter. But when you're right, you're right. What do they call it? The broken watch theory. The broken watch is right twice a day. This is one of his twice a days, because there's some crybaby group that wants to make life better for the minor leaguers. And it is. In minor league baseball, you're making like $30,000 a year. You don't make millions till you get to the majors. You better do it because you love it. And so Aubrey Huff fires back about these crybabies of like, look, no one was singing the blues for me when I was in AA ball, making $100 a week and had 5 roommates. If you don't like it, play better. And I think that theory applies to podcasting. I only got 10 viewers and no one likes it. Play better.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's fantastic advice.
Yeah, I mean, the quality and consistency, right? That's really what it comes down to. And when you got that, the proof is in the pudding,
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to start to wrap it up. We're over like an hour and 10 minutes now, which flew by like that. I mean, this has been a fantastic conversation.
I'd like to announce that I was actually able to go this whole time without having my laptop plugged in, without it dying.
Oh, wow.
Praise
Really?
Jesus.
Yeah, that's awesome. One thing I wanted to show though before we start wrapping it up, check out Brian's eBay store, Blastbeat Industries ATX. What does the ATX stand for?
That is Austin, Texas.
Oh, nice. Okay.
There are other fake false blast beats out there. You don't need that fake grind in your life. You need this.
I love the Yastrzemski card from The Simpsons.
With the big sideburns, yes.
This is so awesome.
This is great.
So awesome.
This is great. So, and then, check out Brian's store if you're looking for sports cards, comics, music, hard to find music, right?
Definitely collectibles. I don't have a lot of new releases and new stuff. Before we leave, and this ties into this, that I got to apologize to Critical RJ for Critical Blast.
Oh, why? What happened?
A couple times of being on the show. I've been working insane amounts of overtime the last couple months that just finally ended this week. But RJ has a service that he's trying to basically become a distributor. And so maybe in the future I can get Alterna and other IGG books at a wholesale rate. But until then, this is not used, not in condition, but second market. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that are you still doing I know you go on RJ's. We've had him on the show before. Are you still doing that? It was like a comic store guy show with him on the weekends.
The other part of why I've missed the show there is the eBay store during that crazy overtime binge kind of got neglected, and I'm a little behind the times in what's going on in the market and what's selling, because I've gone from, 100 sales a week down to 10. And that's not the market. That's me just not putting the time into it. So I'm getting back on the horse.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, well, that's part of the job, right? Is finding those trends and staying on top of things, or else, studying what the next Marvel movie is going to be and which character they're going to unveil,
Brian said it best. He's been doing it for such a long time. He's like one of the Wall Street traders. It just comes natural, right?
Yeah. Awesome. So
if I could only have those moves like Gordon Gekko on Wall Street where he's turning 18 million, because I've mastered the skill of turning $3 into $30.
Yeah. It's all scale, Brian. You're just working your way
up. There's no Ferraris
right?
out front,
Greed is good.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Brian, where can people find you? What's stuff that you want to mention for plugs and
the LCS guys, local comic shop guys on Critical Blast. That's Saturday nights.
Okay.
The Comic Ship, that's John, Ryan, and myself. That is Monday afternoons. And then if anyone has any questions about, market, we've been doing the Comic Ship since January. So let's call it the last 6 months. I get hit up on a wide variety of stuff. Should I buy/sell this? I have a question about my eBay store. I have a question about podcasting. I have a question about this band. I'm good for all of it. Hit me up about anything.
Awesome. Yeah, and you can find you on Twitter as well, right? At Blastbeat.
Blastbeat Industries. I got to double check myself. Yeah, blastbeatatx on Twitter.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Johnny, how about you? I know you want to mention Surrounded by Death. Let me pop that up one more time here.
Yeah, so really, I just want to, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. It was awesome. I'm so glad I kind of got acquainted with your guys' comedy style. I've got Ryan's YouTube now subscribed. And for everybody else, please check out Surrounded by Death on Kickstarter. We are launching next Tuesday, July 13th. We launched the same day as Bob Sally's Jasper Starlight Tavern. Our profiles are going to link up.
Oh, cool. So you guys can kind of feed off one another. That's a good
Crossbow,
idea.
Well, because I have a short in that book too.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yep.
All right, great. Yeah, we'll have to have Bob on at some point to talk to him about everything.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. With me, nothing new. I'm just packing orders. I'm down to about 120 left. So pushing that campaign
Chipping away,
out.
man. A little bit at a time.
Right.
Yeah, actually, as soon as I log off here, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go push, go pack some more, So
Yep.
getting there. I'm pushing out about 20 packages a week. I try to do a couple a night, and no, I'm trying not to kill myself. So
Yep.
and then also I'm lettering Don Chin's Beard Zerker, so I'm working on that. And then I just picked up.
Done if it's getting lettered.
What's that?
So that implies artwork is done if it's getting lettered.
Yeah, he's already got 15 pages in the can. So he's looking to deliver that in the next couple of months, I think. I think the issue is only going to be like 30 something pages, I believe. I don't know, something like that. Nice. But it looks good. And Bill Mouse is killing it with the artwork. And it looks like I'm reading it as I'm lettering it and chuckling. It's because some of it's really funny. So that's going to be great if you guys back that. It's I think you could still back it. It's on in demand. So
I think so. Yeah.
So
I can't wait to get my copy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm writing. I'm actually started writing the new issues of Mascots too. So I'm kind of trying to find time to do that, but my work's been, Johnny, we've been talking, we bitch about it at the beginning of every
show.
Last
3 days, I've just been nonstop from the moment I get to my desk to the moment I leave. I've just been nonstop between the Kickstarter stuff, my regular job.
Oh, crazy. Yeah, definitely. So, but we're gonna wrap up tonight's episode. We'll be back. We're going to our regular schedule again. So every other Wednesday we'll be back for now, unless we make a special announcement on Twitter. But we're going into convention
we will be
season.
Doing so, probably.
What's that, Johnny?
We're probably going to be having a special here or there.
Yeah, just because with convention season, it gets tougher to try to do shows and do that as well, and it's nuts. So, do you do conventions, Brian, or no?
I did.
Do you set up at any
for trillions of years? So you have the same mechanic, but no, you're very well versed in live music. All my convention experience has been as a fan, and when I go to those things, especially like they used to do Wizard World in Austin, and they have a lot of Mike Tyson signing autographs. Ooh, they're showing the new Avengers movie. All that silly stuff I never went to because I was hardcore buying and selling.
Yeah, same. Yeah, so it's what it seems like most of the retailers. It depends on the show now if they actually do well or not.
But we down here have a lot of these hey, Austin has a serious hipster streak. That's not a secret. So the brunch crowd with their scarves and their horn rim glasses and all that
skinny jeans,
they like to go to these kind of vintage flea markets where it is just a smorgasbord of whatever. There is there's homemade jewelry and old records and old furniture, and it's just a hodgepodge of everything. But you're starting to see more baseball card and comic book tables at those things.
That's good, man. It always goes. Cool. It always comes
so
back.
You know what I mean?
Right?
Not a straight up convention, but a table in a convention environment.
Yeah, perfect. I don't know what happened to Johnny there, but all right, we're gonna wrap things up. Yeah, he went to a convention. Yeah. All right, so thanks everybody for joining us.
This was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Brian, thanks. This is a blast. We'll have to have you on again at some point down the road. And it was great talking to you. I'm sure I'll see you at another show somewhere.
Exactly.
All right. Well, have a good night, everybody, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. All right, take it easy.